Okay, I'm back, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Back. Okay, I just Googled what is a black Hebrew Israelite. Alright. It says black Hebrew Israelites, also called black Hebrews, African Hebrew Israelites, Israelites, and Hebrew Israelites are groups of African Americans who believe they are descendants of the ancient Israelites. Black Hebrews adhere in varying degrees of the religious beliefs and practices of both Christian insanity and Judaism. Alright, we're going to get into the history. You know, like everybody keeps coming, why would the black man create the white man? I keep getting asked that question. Okay, this goes into the great year cycle. Okay, now I want you to look at this name, Israelites, right there. Because Israel, the word, let me type it in. Let me get Israel is Isis, Ra, and the Egyptian god El. Okay, this is where you get Israel. All right, and Israel is originally Egypt. As you see right here, archaeologists baffled after ancient Egyptian sphinx uncovered in northern Israel. There you go. Because, you know, Israel, Isis, is Egypt. It's originally Egypt. This is why they're uncovering sphinxes and shit. Sumer is Egypt. It's actually, in Egypt, all is based in, originates from South Africa. And that's why you got pyramids all the way over in China that perfectly align to the Great Pyramid in Kemet. Because all of that was Africa. China, Asia, all the way over, which is why you have Jawa members over there in the Bay of Bengal with Asian markers. And they're the forefathers of all Chinese and people from India. Because this is all based in genetic engineering. And to make a long, you know, YouTube done came in and put strikes on my fucking videos. You know, people whining and bitching. So, you know, I got to shorten these videos up to 14 minutes or I got to do playlists. But anyway, make a long story short, okay, reason why you got these different races and reason why the white man came about is because what you had was you had a gang of renegade Egyptian priests. There was an infight in Kemet, and what happened was you had the priesthood going against each other, and you had these renegade Egyptian priests that got kicked the fuck out of Egypt. And these renegade Egyptian priests that got kicked the fuck out of Egypt are the ones that created the white man and then used the white man to invade Kemet in the Hyksos invasion. And these renegade Egyptian priests, okay, are today's Hebrew Israelites. which explains why the Hebrew Israelites hate Africans and hate Egyptians, and will sit there and tell you that their DNA is more closely tied to a Caucasian than it is to an African. Alright? Hebrew Israelites will tell you that. Now, why would they sit there with all the woolly hair, the black skin? Why would they sit here and say that they're genetically more closer to a white man than they are a black African? Why would they say that? Unless, of course, they're descendants of that Egyptian priesthood that got kicked the fuck out of Kemet, and as revenge and retaliation, they turned around and created the white man and used the white man to invade Kemet in the Hyksos invasion, and that got flipped around into the Moses Exodus story that you now read about in today's Bible. Alright? It's all fucking head game. I mean, all they did was took history and they flipped it around. Alright? And here you go. Okay, here's the Egyptian priest, Wikipedia. Egyptian priest, Osarseph. Alright? Osarseph, or Uzarseph. Okay, is a legendary figure of ancient Egypt who has been equated with Moses. There it is right there. Osarseph has been equated with Moses. His story was recounted by the Ptolemaic Egyptian historian Manetho. So this is all documented. Okay? In his Egyptica, the first half of the 3rd century BC. Manetho's work is lost, but the 1st century AD Jewish historian Josephus quotes extensively from it. And here you go here. The story depicts Osiris as a renegade Egyptian priest who leads an army of lepers. There you go. And who are these lepers? Right? Who are these lepers? It's the Caucasian, man. And other unclean people against a pharaoh named Amenophis. The pharaoh is driven out of the country, and the leper army, in alliance with the Hyksos, okay, this is the first record of Caucasians in the historical record, whose story is told by Manetho, ravage Egypt, committing many sacrileges against the gods before Amenophis returns and expels them. Okay, that's the true Exodus. It was expelling the Hyksos out of Kemet, and that got flipped into Jews being kicked out. And who flipped that story? Of course, it's the renegade Egyptian priests that we call Hebrews. They flipped the story. And they came out with all this propaganda and lies stating that they were #1 slaves in Egypt. When in reality what it is they're the renegade traitors that got kicked the fuck out of Egypt. And they established, these renegade Egyptian priests established themselves as Hebrews. This original renegade Egyptian priest turned around and created the white man, and as revenge and retaliation for getting kicked the fuck out of Kemet, they turned around and created the white man and used the white man to invade Kemet. And that's the reason why you have this warmongering savage called the white man running the planet. It's due to infighting. And Hebrews are in reality Egyptian priests, which is why they call themselves Israelites. Which is why that fake ass Bible, you can read, parallel the Egyptian text, the Book of the Dead, all of that you read in the Bible, you see right there on the walls of Kemet, which is why the fucking Bible is written on papyrus, which is Egyptian. And papyrus only grows in the Nile Valley region of Sudan and Egypt. Because the Hebrews are renegade Egyptian priests who got kicked the fuck out of Kemet. That's what it is. And they're part of this little delusion game. And that's why these Hebrews come out and say that African Americans are the true Hebrew Israelites, which is technically true, considering the fact that a black Hebrew Israelite is in reality an Egyptian priest, a traitor group or Egyptian priest who got kicked the fuck out of Kemet. Okay, and we're gonna get into that. And here you go, man. This is this Hearts. Let me see. Hearts. It's a Jewish website. Okay. One day, King Amenophis of Egypt decided that he wanted to see the gods with his own eyes. He called on one of the kingdom sages and asked him how could he make his wish come true. The wise man replied that the king could do so if he were to cleanse Egypt of lepers and other impure people. Now, who are these lepers and impure people? It's the ones with the fucking Neanderthal genes. Ones with the Cro-Mac genes. Because the Tamahu was right there in Egypt. Okay, because of the lepers were running rampant throughout Africa, because the majority of the genetic engineering was based there in Ethiopia, which is where they uncovering all the Lucy skulls, all the Homo erectus, all these ape men. Okay, they was creating these hybrid ape-human hybrids, and they were running rampant, which might explain why there's desert glass formed by ancient atomic bombs, which is why the fucking Sahara Desert today is a goddamn desert. Alright? Because they bombed the fucking Sahara to wipe out all these hybrids running rampant. Alright? In Beyond Science, Epic Times, explorers research and account, and they're finding this green glass sheets all throughout the Sahara. And Sahara used to be a tropical rainforest, and all of a sudden, magically, it becomes a big ass desert, and they find in these sheets of fucking glass, which tells you that there was some kind of nuclear explosion that caused that desert. And why would they bomb the fucking desert? Because they were wiping out all those fucking hybrids, man. But anyway, okay. In Beyond Science, Epic Times explores research and accounts related to phenomenon theories that challenge our current knowledge. We delve into ideas that stimulate the imagination and open up new possibilities. Share your thoughts with some of these sometimes controversial topics in the comments below. Now, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Here we go. The Bhagavad Gita. 7 years after the nuclear test in Alamogordo, New Mexico, Dr. Robert J. Oppenheimer, the father of atomic bomb, was lecturing at a college when a student asked him if it was the first atomic test conducted. Yes, in modern times, he replied. That his sentence, enigmatic and incomprehensible at the time, was actually an allusion to ancient Hindu texts that describe an apocalyptic catastrophe that doesn't correlate with volcanic eruptions or other known phenomenon. Oppenheimer, who avidly studied ancient Sanskrit, and keep in mind, India is nothing but a sister civilization of Kemet, because all of that is Kemet. That's why they have pyramids in China. Okay, was undoubtedly referring to a passage in the Bhagavad Gita that describes a global disaster caused by an unknown weapon, a ray of iron. Right? Okay, while it may be alarming to the scientific community to speak of the existence of atomic weapons before the present cycle of civilization. So there you go. The atomic bomb was created by the black African. There you go. We can add that, to the long list of African inventions. Evidence of this phenomenon seems to whisper its verses in every corner of the planet. The evidence comes not only from the Hindu verses, but from an ample extension of fused glass fragments scattered throughout many deserts of the world. Okay, silicon crystals, curiously cast, resemble remarkably the same fragments found after the nuclear explosions of Alamogordo's White Sands atomic testing site. Okay, in December 1932, Patrick Clayton, a surveyor from the Egyptian Geological Survey, drove between the dunes of the Great Sand Sea close to the Sad Plateau in Egypt when he heard crunching under the wheels. When he examined what was causing the sound, he found great chunks of glass in the sand. Okay, the find caught the attention of geologists around the world and planted the seed for one of the biggest modern scientific enigmas. What phenomenon could be capable of raising the temperature of desert sand to at least 3,300 degrees Fahrenheit, casting it into great sheets of solid yellow-green glass? Okay, there it is right there, man. So I mean, when I'm looking at this and you piece together this fact right here, will the real Moses stand up? And they're talking about he called on the kingdom sages to ask him how he could make his wish come true. The wise man replied that the king could do so if he were to cleanse Egypt of the lepers and other impure people. Okay, this Egyptian pharaoh wanted to see the gods. And who are the gods, man? We talking about the star people, the elongated skull people. They come from another solar system. All right, who had the technology to fly here from another planet. So they had the technology to wipe out a fucking desert, which is why they finding that desert sand. Okay, but wait, hold on. And this is what you're talking about. Those lepers, because they were created right there. Some of these lepers were created right there on the Canary Islands. Okay, the Ganchus are mysterious natives of the Canary Islands. They were conquered by the Spaniards during the turn of the 15th century. Tall, blonde, and blue-eyed, the Ganchus have long intrigued the anthropologists, for blonde natives are rarity. According to the reliable Encyclopedia Britannica, the Ganchus are thought to have been Cro-Magnon. There it is, right there. Cro-Magnon in origin, which tells you that they were engineering these lepers, these hybrids, on these islands. And what happened was they overtook North Africa. And this Amenophis was to cleanse it. And somehow they created a nuclear disaster right there in the Sahara Desert and wiped them out. That's what it's looking like. Now, do I have all the answers? No, I don't. But there's green glass uncovered in Sahara. Sahara was once tropical and now it's gone. Food for thought. That's it. I'm up. Woo!